Hello, welcome to today's message. Hope this message finds you in good spirits. If you just stumbled across this message, I hope that you get something from it. So, today's message deals with Jesus and the donkey. We'll call it that. Today at church, this being Palm Sunday, we talked about Matthew chapter 21, which is basically when Jesus asked his disciples for the donkey so that way they can ride into Jerusalem. Before I get into that, let me tell you about another scripture I read at the beginning of our service this morning. What I had referenced was Matthew chapter 20, the very end of it. At the very end of it, basically Jesus is tired. He had a long day in Jericho, preaching up a storm. He's exhausted. Disciples are exhausted. They're getting ready to leave. They got to hit the next town in their tour. And basically, crowd is like, thank you so much for coming. Out of the back of the crowd, you could hear these two people screaming out, Jesus, son of David, we need your help. Jesus, son of David, please help us. And people were like, yo, hey, it's over. He's getting ready to leave. Please calm down, right? He's tired. He's exhausted. Can you give this guy some rest? And they got louder and louder, and Jesus is like, okay, what can I do for you two? Can you heal us? Can you give us sight? We're blind. We can't see. Jesus heals them. Very next thing you read, Matthew chapter 21, Jesus basically is getting ready to go into Jerusalem. He asks his disciples for the donkey. So I read that part, right? I read about how basically Jesus had asked his disciples for the donkey. They would go up the road. They would find this house. They'd find a donkey outside with its colts. And basically they were to lay their cloaks on it and take the donkey and the colts. Somebody had stopped and asked them, hey, we need this for our master. So let me just step aside from the scripture for just a moment. Basically, as Christians, one of the things that I realize a lot of people have a hard time following Christ and following Christianity is the fact that we give, but we don't receive. That's what it feels like. Take it, for example, here, tax season is just ending, so those of you that hadn't paid taxes, we're trying to get our taxes done. And, we're trying to do our good job, trying to do good life. We're seeing all these people, they're getting like tax returns and they're buying stuff. And then, for example, I went in there and the person who prepared my taxes as actually their assistant says, I'm going to give you a number. $556. I'm like, sweet, I've got $556 coming back from federal. No, that's how much you owe federal. What? Right? Here I am doing everything good. I pay my taxes. I show up for work and federal's taking more money out of it. Great. Oh, and you also owe the state as well. Awesome. Right? As a Christian, that's stuff that we see, right? We get frustrated. How come we don't get that nice side by side? Man, there's a brand new truck out there. Man, that thing is sweet. I'm hoping that my car doesn't break down, right? This is stuff that Christians, we feel because we give and give, but we don't receive. And we're promised that we'll get this great big reward at the very end. But there are also other gifts, and I'll talk about the other gifts that we get on a daily basis in just a minute. Let me go back to the story. So the reason I talked about Matthew 20 before I talked about Matthew 21 is throughout the Bible, throughout Matthew, you read the stories, under no circumstances you ever hear Jesus say, okay, I want, until Matthew 21. He's always getting asked questions. Hey, Jesus, can you do this? Jesus, can you, I know you're busy and you're doing this stuff, but can we have a service up there on the mountain? Jesus, we forgot food. Can you figure out a way of helping us get food? Right? He never asked for anything, and all of a sudden he asked for his donkey and a colt so he could ride it into town. That is the first time that you really hear about Jesus asking for something. And is he really asking for himself, or is he asking for other people? Because when you have a disciple later on, disciple says, Jesus, what can I do? What can I do for you? And Jesus says this one thing, feed my people. Feed my people. That's all he asks for. He doesn't ask for, hey, can you go into town and get some of that beard oil, and some hair gel, because, I'm starting to look kind of, worn out from all this travel and all this preaching. I kind of want to groom myself up a little bit. No, he doesn't ask for that. Instead, he asks for others. So when Jesus had asked for the colt and the donkey, what he was asking for was something to fulfill a prophecy that was given a long time ago, that basically Messiah, the person who's going to help you find a better life, is going to be coming through that gate riding a donkey, right? Not riding a brand new beautiful Arabian horse with a gilded saddle and all that stuff. Nope, not riding a donkey that is rare and like a white donkey or anything like that. No, he's riding, or a camel, he's riding a donkey and a colt, right? And so basically when people realize that, hey, there is a better life, there is fulfillment with those promises and those prophecies, that's what he was asking for. But see, I think that Jesus didn't ask for things because he realized the gifts that were given by giving wholeheartedly, being selfless, giving. And that is the gratitude from people. When your eyes are open, you realize the gratitude of others by giving yourself. Taking point, I have a friend who basically, has gone through hardships and all that stuff. And then one day he walks into a place and somebody he hadn't met in a long time came up to him. Oh my gosh, there you are. I'm so grateful that I met you. What you did for me and my family, I will never forget. All right. In fact, I was just talking about you to my Aunt Mabel, who wants to know if there's a better life. And I talked about how you preached about Jesus and how you were there for my family in need, and that basically Christians will be there for you people in need. Right? That is amazing. If you leave a life of sin and you run into people you haven't met in a while, you hadn't seen in a while, that's not what you get. Instead, you get, oh my gosh, I can't believe, wow, please don't tell anyone about what we used to do back in the day, right? Or, hey, I'm glad you're here. I need somebody to take me to the package store. Or, do you have something that helped take off some edge? Or you got some money, man, right? That's not what you want to hear when you run into somebody from old days. So we do receive gifts. And going back to Matthew chapter 20. When we read that, we read about eyesight, right? If you haven't noticed from my videos lately, my glasses are big, they're thick, and my eyes are deteriorating. But I want to believe that the sight that Jesus gave those two people was the sight that we receive when we fully accept Christ in our lives, when we fully accept the teachings and we follow that. And that is seeing God's miracles and God's blessings when we fulfill those promises, when we feed the people. And we see what happens, those rewards. Because when our eyes are open to that, the blessings that God gives you are amazing. And granted, they're not physical, but they outnumber that. They will last longer than anything physical. So I hope God blesses you throughout the week, throughout your day. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.